Today we have the Palmetto State Armory AKV. Let's go ahead and take some shots and see how she does. Welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. In this video, we're going to cover the new Palmetto State Armory AKV. Palmetto State Armory announced the AKV in mid-2018, with it being released for sale in December of 2018. The AKV is patterned after the Vityaz SN Russian submachine gun manufactured by Russia's Izhmash. Developed in 2004 and officially adopted in 2008, the Vityaz is a 9mm submachine gun originally developed for the Russian Special Forces units, but was subsequently adopted as the standard submachine gun for all branches of Russian military and police forces. It's a selective fire closed bolt weapon that utilizes simple blowback operation and was based on the AK platform. Palmetto State Armory developed their version using primarily photos of the original as their inspiration. To be able to bring it to market easier, it was created as a pistol utilizing a rear brace. This gives the appearance of the fully stocked submachine gun while steering clear of having to be an NFA-registered short-barreled rifle. It's a semi-automatic, closed-bolt, blowback-operated firearm in 9mm and is rated for plus P ammo. It features a hinged top dust cover with a built-in rail for optics and comes in a variety of colors and styles utilizing Magpul furniture. It features a last round bolt hold open, and for the magazine they developed it to use Scorpion magazines and also produce their own magazine, which also works in the Scorpion. Unlike the Scorpion magazines, their version features stainless steel feed lips. It holds 35 rounds and retails for around $20. The AKV has a more modern appearance than the Vityaz itself, using an M4 tube-style SBA3 brace or a folding SB tactical brace. However, they are working on a triangle-styled folding brace that will more closely resemble the original Vityaz design and appearance, and it will be able to be retrofitted to the current released versions that ship with the standard SB braces. This one features their olive drab green furniture and is just as it came out of the box. Let's take a closer look. And of course, before we start, we need to do a safety check, make sure that we are free and clear. I'm going to go ahead and lock the bolt back. If you notice, that's one of the departures that this firearm has from a standard AK. The bolt can be locked back. It has a last round hold open, but we'll look into that more closely in just a moment. First, go ahead and take the magazine out. It is free and clear. Take a look at the chamber, and the chamber is also free and clear, so we're good to go. So go ahead and release that bolt. And we'll take a look at the controls and design features of the Palmetto State Armory AKV. Of course, it is a single stage trigger. We have the magazine release here. It's a paddle style magazine release. Simply push that forward or pull it toward the magazine and the magazine pulls straight out. It's not a rocking style, it's straight in and out. We have our safety selector and dust cover here. Currently it's on fire. There's the F there for fire. Move up to the next position. That would be the A for automatic or for full automatic. That's there just for looks. This is a semi-automatic firearm. It operates in semi-automatic in both positions. There again, just there for looks. Looks kind of neat. Then you have S for safe, and when it's in safe position, then that also covers the open part of the dust cover up there. So then pull that down. This is the charging handle, which is connected to the bolt. We have the SB brace. It is an adjustable brace to account for different arm lengths. Have the hinged top cover with Picatinny rail. The rear sight is attached to the dust cover as well. The front sight is adjustable for windage and elevation in typical AK fashion. The bolt release is right here, so when it's locked back, you would simply pull down on that to release the bolt. Go ahead and show you that. It can be operated manually as well. You can pull it back and lift up on it while the bolt's back, and that will also lock the bolt back. So let's go ahead and take a look at field disassembly. This is the dust cover retaining pin. That's also the main disassembly button for the entire firearm. So you'd push that button in. You can see it right here. So you'd push in on that, And once that's pushed in, you can lift the dust cover, pivot it up. Then you have access to the internals. There's the recoil spring that goes into the bolt assembly. That same button you would simply push in farther and lift up to disengage it from its rails. And it comes out as a unit. There's some slight rails right here, or channels. It's kind of hard to see. Right here. And they would engage these sections right here on both sides. You can take the bolt out, slide it all the way to the back, and it lifts out. Take a look at the bolt itself. Now, this is a blowback operated firearm. However, it does look like it has a full operating rod with gas rings. That's just for appearance. All of this assembly is here just to add the weight and mass to the bolt it needs to operate as a blowback operated firearm. If you notice, if you're familiar with AK platforms, normally there's a rotating bolt assembly in here, and this would be the carrier. In this firearm, it's all one piece. There is no rotating or locking assembly. It's blowback operated only. Here is our extractor, and of course we have our firing pin right here where the hammer hits, and then it would protrude through the hole there. The ejector would travel down this channel here, so as the bolt comes back, the ejector would pop out, and then that's what would remove the cartridge from the bolt. You can remove the extractor and the firing pin by removing these pins. However, for routine and general maintenance, you would not need to do that. Generally, you should just leave those in there unless there's some damage to this, because they are pins that would have to be driven out. They're spring drift pins. So you should just leave those in there unless there's some real operational issue where you would have to remove that. As far as the rest of the firearm on the inside, the safety is very easy to come out, and there's the safety bar right there. And so if you need to get down in there a little bit more, to remove the safety, you would just lift up until it's vertical or at 90 degrees, and then it just lifts out. It opens up a little bit more, easy to access. AK firearms, as far as the rest of the internals here, it can all be removed. However, for general routine maintenance and cleaning, you don't need to do that unless you're very familiar with the AK platform and have done that kind of work. You should just leave everything in there the way it is. A few other details. It is a single hook, single stage trigger, and on some testing I've done, it runs about 4.5 pound trigger pull. So it's a very nice trigger as well. It's a single stage, not really much of a wall. It's a nice general pull back, and then it just releases. It's from an out-of-the-box perspective, probably one of the best AK triggers I've ran across. That's just a new one out of the box. There's our ejector right there. Of course, we have our frame rails that are just basically from the stamped sheet metal. It's a 1 millimeter thick stamped steel receiver. We have the enlarged sections in the rail here, which is how you would put the bolt in. The bolt has the grooves here to run along those rails. Have the wider sections there that then would go down below those rails, and then that would go into that wider section here is how that is put in to engage. So this is as far as you want to remove anything. You'd want to basically just clean everything out, give it a nice coating of oil for lubrication and corrosion prevention, and that's pretty much it as far as disassembly for that. To remove the 4 grips, both the lower and upper, this is the locking lever for that. It's typical AK style. You would simply lift up on that. Once that's lifted up, you can lift out the gas tube. Normally this is part of general maintenance you would need to clean this out because you have the gas running in there. There's no gas that runs in on this one, so really there's not a reason to really take this out. It's just if you, for whatever reason, want to, if you wanted to change it out with a different piece of furniture, different color, different style. It's standard AK, so you can put whatever you want on there. The lower handguard, there's a little pin right there. And you would just basically flip up that pin or little lever. So usually they're a little stubborn. get something a little bit more substantial. And this is that pin right there. So once that's lifted up, that piece can slide forward, and once that slides forward, the grip, lower grip can just slide forward, and then it just disengages and comes off. Now, on it itself, you have this squared off section there. That's what would go into the squared off section of the receiver right there. That's how it goes back in place. Now, if you're looking at this on the gas block, it even has the vent ports on there. So it has all the appearance of being a gas-operated firearm. However, those are just there. These are probably off-the-shelf parts, and so there's no reason to not have the holes there, but they don't really do anything. They're just there for appearance. The muzzle brake itself has the locking pin right there. You would just push in on that pin, and then you could remove the brake. Here's another departure from a regular AK. This is standard 1/2 by 28 threads, so it's not the reverse threaded in metric that AKs usually are. So you could use whatever your favorite 1/2 by 28 threaded muzzle device, whether that be a suppressor of some type or just some other type of flash hider. I like this tanker style flash hider that it comes with, so I'm just going to leave it for now. And reassembly, of course, you just thread it on until you start hitting the pin. Push the pin in, keep threading it on until it won't turn anymore, and if it won't line up with the pin, just rotate it counterclockwise until it will line up with the pin and lock in place. To put the lower handguard back on, you'd want to just slide that front collar forward, put that square section in the receiver, push it in place, then that front section can slide back in place, rotate the lever around and lock it back down, and that's locked back in. Get your gas tube assembly. The front goes on to the gas block first, and then this pivots in, and there's a, I don't know if you can see it, there's a rotating flat section. That's how that locks in. So you can line up the flat section so that this will slide down past it, push it down, and then push the lever back forward. So that's installed. Lift the dust cover back up. We'll go ahead and put our safety back in. The safety, the funky little shape where it sticks out, goes into the keyhole. So it's basically just the opposite of how you took it out. That goes through. There's a hole on the other side. Right here, you put the pin through so it comes out, rotate the safety assembly around, and put it back into its position there. The bolt, put the fake operating rod with the gas rings into the mating hole at the top, line those larger sections up in the rail toward the back, and then you can slide it forward. Now at this point, see if you can make it to where you can see this. The hammer there, yeah, there we go. The hammer hits, or I should say the breech face hits the back of the hammer. It will not slide forward. This is normal, so when this happens to you, don't think there's something wrong. So you have to push down on that hammer, and then you can slide the bolt forward. Now in operation, these spacers and the buffer fills up the space back there so that the bolt itself can only travel back about that far, so it won't overrun it. So you don't have to worry about that locking things up. So put your spring into the hole in the bolt. You have your locking lever there. You would go ahead and compress the spring, line up those slots in the rails, make sure our buffer and spacer are in the right spot, and then you put the dust cover back down, and you can just push it down, and that's basically back installed. So, for a function test, so that's good. So as far as that trigger, let's go ahead and test the weight on that trigger again. I've checked it a couple times. It's always been right at 4.5. Let's see if it still is. Yep, right at 4.5, maybe just a hair under. As I said, it's a very nice trigger. As far as some other details and features, the front trunnion is held in with those 3 rivets there. That's what hooks into the front receiver, and it's what the barrel hooks into. It's a forged front trunnion. It's forged bolt and carrier assembly. Stamped 1mm steel receiver. The barrel itself is a 10-inch barrel, 4150 steel, nitride. It's a 1 in 10-inch twist. It's got the 2-port tanker style muzzle brake, and that's pretty much it. So that's the Palmetto State Armory AKV. As with any new firearm, there's bound to be some teething issues, and the AKV was no exception. The initial version that was released was hit or miss as far as reported issues were concerned, with many people reporting no issues at all, but a lot of other people reporting multitudes of them. It had routine failure to eject and feed issues, and would occasionally have to be disassembled to clear the jams. In January, for all intents and purposes, production was stopped on the firearm, and Palmetto worked to research the issue and make some corrective design changes. In April, production was resumed with the modified design, which has had very favorable reviews. I took this one to the range and was very pleased with its performance. Oh, I killed it. And that's it. Overall, it's a nice shooting gun. On its initial range trip, I went through several hundred rounds using primarily 115 grain ball ammo and had no issues of any kind. It fed fine and had no malfunctions of any type. Recoil is mild as would be expected from a 9mm pistol of this type and size, and overall accuracy was fairly good, even though the sights were off slightly out of the box. While production has resumed, demand has outstripped production, and it's frequently out of stock. Until demand and production sync up, it's going to take some patience to get one. I'll be adding a red dot sight soon to this one, and we'll be hitting the range again to more fully evaluate its performance. So if you've not done so already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new videos as they're released so that you don't miss anything. I hope this information is of assistance to you, and until next time, stay safe.